You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 74. Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kaylee
and Josiane from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life. Hello, and welcome to the Balanced Educator Podcast. We're so happy you're here.
We took a break in the month of July, and we're so excited to be back with you and taking this time off to relax a little bit and recharge after a busy year, both teaching in the classroom. Josiane and I were both teaching in the classroom and working on EduCalm and supporting the EduCalm community. It was so nice to take a step back, recharge, focus on ourselves again, focus on some fun, exciting new projects that we are creating for the EduCalm community.
Yes, more to come on that.
Yes. And taking this time really reminded us how important it is to care for ourselves first.
Seriously, self-care.
Yeah, it can be so easy to get caught up in the busyness of being a teacher, and even for ourselves who advocate for self-care practices as a teacher and the importance of filling your cup first, even us, we start to forget to put that time in for ourselves.
It was a challenge.
It really was this year.
But thankfully, with July being a month that we pretty much took off,
feeling good, feeling relaxed. So this definitely got us excited about speaking to you guys about the topic of avoiding teacher burnout. This is something that no matter, how well you care for yourself throughout the year, you start to have less and less energy. So we wanted to create a series so that you can start off the school year with all the tools and information you need to make this your best year yet. So we're calling this 5-part series Avoid Teacher Burnout. And each episode, we're going to go into detail about one aspect that's going to really help you to be the best, feel the best throughout the school year.
Kaylee's going to bring out all of her sciencey stuff. I'm really excited.
Yeah, very excited to get into it. So today, we're going to be talking about how to create good habits that will last throughout the school year. So I've been obsessive lately over learning how the brain works and how the brain creates habits and how the brain tries its best to make our lives easier and use the least amount of energy possible, and how that can be really helpful for us, but can also be really bad for us. So today we're going to get into what I've been learning about the brain and creating habits so that you can really start by creating these good habits that are going to help you throughout the entire school year. Even when things get busy, even when things get stressful, you'll have these ingrained habits that you can always go back to that are going to help you to fill your cup first.
And before we get on with the other things, I'd just like to say that you said that you've only been interested in the brain lately. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Well, lately I've been extra interested in how the brain forms habits and turns conscious actions into subconscious actions and thoughts. So that's been where my area of obsession has been lately.
I love it. Can't wait to hear about it.
All right. So before we get into it, we just want to talk a little bit about the exciting things that are coming up that we've been working on behind the scenes while we were taking a break from the podcast. So, Josiane, are you ready to tell them what we've been working on?
We have been working on our new website, and we can't give you more information than that for now, but more to come, and we're super excited about it.
Yes. What we can say is that we've taken lots of feedback that we've gotten from our ambassadors in the past school year to help us create a even more awesome website for this upcoming year.
Yes.
So excited to share
more
that.
details to come.
Yes. And what's the other thing we've been working on?
We will be offering some really fun and different professional development workshops this school year here in Winnipeg.
So, yeah. Very excited to tell you about those dates and what the topics are soon. So keep your eyes peeled on our emails that come to your inbox. So if you are on our email list, keep your eyes peeled for that information. And if you are not on our email list, get on it already.
Yeah, no kidding.
Join the community. It is awesome. So you can get onto our mailing list by going to educalm.com/subscribe.
Now, another new thing that we have going on here at the Balanced Educator Podcast is that we are now accepting sponsorships for our show.
So exciting. So we've always wanted to partner with brands and companies that we already recommend because we already use them. We are very mindful consumers, you and I,
yes.
And really do our research and choose to support businesses that we want to grow because they're doing amazing things in the world.
Yes.
So we are so excited now to be partnering with our first sponsor, which is
Free Label.
I have been obsessed with Free Label since they first started. I bought the very first tank top they ever made, which was the Betty tank, and always loved it because it's amazing quality. Like, I bought this tank top years ago and it still looks brand new. It's amazing, super versatile. And one of the things that I absolutely adore is that they really pay attention to sustainability and ethical practices. So everything they manufacture is done in Canada. And Jess, the owner of Free Label, she goes in person to the factories to make sure that all the workers are working in awesome working conditions, that they're happy, that they're being taken care of, and has so much control over all aspects of the production of the clothing.
You have to check it out.
So good. So check out Free Label. Go to educalm.com/free label. That's FREELABEL.
Let's get into the show now.
Let's
so
do
excited. It's been a while since we've chatted.
I know. So fun.
And today we are talking about forming habits because we both know forming habits is not easy and falling out of habits is also easy.
Yep.
And a lot of people have this issue. We keep trying to make good habits stick, but they just won't stick. So let's talk about it.
All right. So first off, this series is about how to avoid teacher burnout. So let's talk a little bit about how habits and instilling good habits are actually going to help us to avoid that state of burnout and be more resilient in those times of stress. So first off, as we said, like, it's so easy to put yourself off during the school year.
It's been one of our issues in the past.
And I think it's kind of a trait, kind of a personality trait that all teachers have in common.
Let's put everyone else before me, right?
Exactly. So, oftentimes, even when we start off with good intentions of having positive routines that help us to fill up our cup first, as soon as things get a little bit stressful, then we're back into the old habits of putting everyone first. So if we can make self-care a part of our daily routine in a
habit, dare I say,
that is ingrained, then that's just going to really help us to avoid burnout.
Actually, life-changing.
Oh, yeah.
You and I are living proofs.
Exactly.
Life-changing.
Exactly. And that was one thing this past school year when we were very busy and had a lot on our plate. Even though our self-care routine became shorter, it always stayed. And that was because we had turned it into an ingrained habit. So that when we were in those difficult times, we always had at least that baseline of self-care to keep us going. So when we're talking about habits, like, what is a habit? A habit is something that is so ingrained, it's automatic. So a habit would be something like, before you go to bed, you always put on pajamas, right? You don't really think about it.
Yeah.
You don't think like, oh, right, I have to put on my pajamas before I go to bed. You just don't go to bed in your day clothes. You put on your pajamas. It's so ingrained in you. It's such a habit that your conscious mind doesn't have to make the decision to do it. It's automatic. Your body just goes through the motions. Another example would be, what's something you don't even think about?
Like for me as a teacher, getting to school, I knew right away I would come in, I would look at my planner, and then I would write my day out on the board for the kids.
Yeah.
Like automatic, never thought about it.
Yeah. It's just like you walk into your classroom and boom, your body starts going through the motions of those steps that you do, same thing every single day. So that's where we want to get with our self-care habits. We want to get to the point where it's so ingrained that we don't even have to think about it and choose, should I do this or not? It's just, we go through the motions. Now, the problem is making new habits is hard. We've all been there, right?
Yep. Really.
You have these great intentions to set these habits that are going to be good for you all year long. And, you're motivated and excited at the beginning, and very quickly you fall right out of it. And I think that understanding how the brain actually creates habits and what's going on in there has been so helpful for me in making the creation of habits, of good habits, and also getting rid of bad habits so much easier.
Yeah, because it helps you to manage your thoughts around the habits,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
That's what I've found.
Totally. And approach it in a way that's like scientifically proven, which is always my favorite thing to do. So let's talk about how habits are created. So anything that we do, we've created a connection in our brain that goes through that pathway of making those actions happen. So anything that we're already doing right now, like we've learned how to do it in the past. Okay. So when we're making a new habit, it's really hard because our brain has never fired and wired in that way before. We literally have to create new connections in our brain. So first off, let's all just remove the judgment we have on ourselves about the fact that creating habits is hard. It is hard because that's our physiology. That's just how the body works. So we can all just take off that judgment of ourselves immediately.
I like that.
Yeah. Acceptance and non-judgment. It's the mindful way. So going into it, knowing it's going to be hard, and that's okay. Now, with a habit, anything that we've done enough times over and over and over, our mind, our brain recognizes that, oh, this is something I do often. Our mind wants to free up space and use the least amount of energy possible. Okay. So the second that the brain recognizes that we do something in the same way over and over, it goes, oh, I'm doing this all the time. I don't need to use the brain power and energy to think about it. Let's just get my body to go through the motions without me thinking about it. So,
which is how you get to work and you couldn't remember how you got there.
Exactly. If you're always...
That's a bad one.
Yeah, I know. And you're like, oh, please tell me I stopped at that stop sign. Can I trust my unconscious programming to have stopped at that stop sign? Yeah, but so that's what our brain is constantly trying to do. It recognizes a pattern, recognizes if it's useful to us or not, and then decides whether it wants to repeat that pattern. And as soon as it has recognized that the pattern we're doing is repetitive and useful to us, it goes, okay, well, I'm not going to waste my energy thinking, oh, I have to turn left here and then right there. And oh, this is the speed limit in this section. It just puts it right into your body, and now your body acts it out without you having to use your mind. Yeah, which allows now your brain to daydream about other things while you're driving. So now it's freeing up space in your mind to do other things, which is like why humans are so awesome. So the brain is always trying to conserve energy, and it creates habits in order to free up energy. So that also means that when we're trying to create a new habit, and it's hard, it's difficult because we're creating new connections that weren't there before, our brain is going to fight back and it's going to go, this is really hard. I don't want to do this. I don't want to spend my energy on trying something new and learning something new. Let's go back to the old programming. Let's go back to the old routines, which is why getting rid of old routines is hard. Old habits is hard, and creating new ones is hard as well. All right, so now let's break down how habits actually happen, like what's going on in our brain that causes the habit to be created and acted out. And once we have this information, it's a lot easier to break down how to create this new positive habit that you'd like to have in your life to help you avoid burnout throughout the school year. So there are 4 parts to creating a habit. Now, I've learned all this from 2 books that are so good that I highly recommend. The first one is called The Power of Habit, and that's by Charles Duhigg. The second one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. So The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg explains that there's 3 steps to habit creation, which I find is super helpful, but I actually like how James Clear broke it down even further into a 4th step. And having his model helped me to really ingrain habits even better than the first model.
And side note, we'll put those in the show notes for you.
Yes, podcast.educom.com. All right, so we have the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. Those are the 4 steps to a habit. So the first thing is the cue. So the cue is what triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It's the thing that notices something in your environment or a feeling that you're feeling that predicts that a reward might be coming or a change needs to be made.
Can you give an example?
Yes. So the cue could be, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this, would be when you get home from work after a stressful day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that can initiate all sorts of different cravings, which is the next step. So the cue is I get home, walk in the door, I'm feeling stressed and I'm feeling tired. Now, what are you craving now?
Well, if you're asking me personally, when I've gone through this, it's just like to sit down and do nothing and like either nap or watch TV.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so let's break that down. So after you have that cue of feeling stressed, then you have a craving. So the craving is the motivational force behind the habit, the thing that you do, which is sitting down or watching TV, something like that. It's the motivation. So what is motivating you to take an action after having felt that initial cue? Now, an interesting thing about the craving is that the craving leads you to want something, but it's not actually that thing that you want. It's the result that thing is going to give you, okay? So you get home, the cue is you're feeling stressed. The craving is, oh, I'm going to sit down and watch TV. Now, you don't actually care about watching TV so much. What you truly want is to feel better. You want to feel a change in state from stressed to relaxed. Yeah. So you begin to crave whatever you've taught your brain in the past can help you get from stressed to relaxed. So you have experiences from your past that have shown you when I sit down and watch television, it helps me to feel more relaxed. So that's what you've taught your brain in the past, as have every other of the millions of people that sit down and binge Netflix once they get home from work.
Oh my goodness. It's a problem, really.
Yeah. So super interesting because, I mean, we'll get into this more, but once you know that, then you have the power to change it, right? So you've got the cue, you're feeling stressed. You've got the craving, I want to sit down to watch TV so that I can take my mind off the stress and relax. Now, the next step is your response. So that's the actual habit that you perform. So this is like the thought that you have or the action that you take to help you to feel better. So the interesting thing about this, though, the response is taking action on this, you have to be motivated enough to expend the energy it takes to do this action, right? So this is where we get into trouble when we're trying to create a better habit, but it takes too much energy to do that thing, right? So when you get home, you're feeling stressed and you're like, okay, I want to feel better. What's easier? Going and watching TV or putting on your shoes, getting outside, going to the gym? Both will help you to feel more relaxed and less stressed, but your brain is going to choose the thing that's easiest, that takes the least amount of energy, right? So that's why it's so easy for us to just pull out our phone and open up Instagram or Facebook and scroll, because it takes like no effort, right? So the response is, in this example, you're going to sit down and watch TV. That's the action that you take. Now, the reward is the end goal of every habit. It's the thing that satisfies your craving, or it's also the thing that teaches you, was that action useful or was it not useful? Should I use it again in the future or should I not? So say, for example, you get home feeling stressed. You're like, okay, I'm trying to go for a run. This is the way I'm going to start dealing with my stress. You put on your shoes, it takes a lot of effort. You go outside, you run. It's actually really tiring and you don't like running that much and it doesn't bring you a lot of joy. So you get home and your brain goes, yeah, TV's easier. In the future, I'm probably not going to go for the run. I'm probably going to sit and watch TV.
That depends on who you are, I guess.
Depends on who you are. I am not a runner. You're a runner. You're like disagreeing with me right now. You're like, no, running is the best thing.
Best way to get the stress out.
I do not like running. So my brain would tell me, yeah, don't do this thing again in the future. So it's learning what actions are helpful for me. So here, like when we're watching TV in this example, the reward is that it was easy. I felt better. I was distracted. Yeah, I was distracted. The stress is gone. I got exactly what my brain was looking for. So your brain notices that this action satisfied your craving to reduce the stress, and it takes note on if you should do it again in the future. Okay, so let's run a summary of these 4 steps to a habit, to every single habit, whether it's good or whether it's bad. These are the 4 steps. So let's try a new habit. You get home and you've got the cue. You're feeling stressed. You just got home from work. Okay, you've got a craving. Your brain's saying, I want to de-stress. I'm tired of feeling overwhelmed. Now, what's the new habit that you want to create? Say, for example, you want to create the habit of de-stressing by going outside for a mindful walk. Okay. So, okay, craving, now is time for my walk. Response, drop your things and immediately go for a walk. Make it easy. Okay. Now, the reward, you're spending time walking in nature. You're reducing your stress. By the end of the walk, you're feeling pretty good. So your brain has just learned that this is an action you can take that's useful for you when you're feeling stressed.
What about the next day?
So then the next day, we go through that cycle again. You get home feeling stressed. I want to relax. Now your brain's got 2 options. You know, it knows from experience in the past a variety of things that can help you de-stress. But when we want to create a new habit that's positive, and we're like, I'm tired of binging Netflix all the time, I want to get outside more, that is going to feel healthier for me, then there's a few things that we can do to help us really teach our brain and help our brain to make the choice of going for a walk rather than the choice of binging the Netflix.
The Netflix.
I sound so old, like the Facebook. Okay. So, in the book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, super good, he gives these 4 laws of behavior change, and they go with the 4 steps of behavior. So step 1 was the cue. Okay. So what he says, if you want to change your behavior, you have to make your cue obvious. So say you want to start running. Okay. That means that you have to make running obvious. So you don't just forget that that's an option. So say you get home from work and you have your running shoes right at the door, like so that you literally have to step on them. It's so obvious you have to step on them. And then you're like, oh yeah, this is an option for me. Say you want to start a mindfulness meditation practice or any type of meditation practice, if you can set a dedicated spot in your house that you always meditate in so that you go, okay, this is obvious. You walk by that spot, you see it. Oh yeah, I can meditate. It has to be like right there in your face because your brain's not thinking of that. It's thinking of the things it's done in the past.
It wants to conserve its energy also.
Exactly. So one thing that I've been creating as a habit as over the last couple of years, I've been learning to play the ukulele. I've never played instruments in the past. So this is like adult Kaylee deciding to try something new. And after I read Atomic Habits, I got this great idea of, he says, make it obvious. So instead of putting my ukulele away in the closet, I would leave it out. Before I was like, oh, I don't want to be messy, so I'm going to put it away. But when you leave it out, you see it all the time. So I started playing way more often and practicing more often just because it was obvious.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So the next step is our craving. So we need to make our new habit attractive. So how can we make it more fun? How can we make it more exciting? Something that like we crave doing because it feels good and it's teaching our brain that this is a good option for us. So, if you're going running, make a really good playlist you want to listen to, or pick a cute outfit that you like wearing, or get shoes that you love to wear, anything that's going to make the action more fun. Step 3 is the response. So the law is make it easy. So we talked about how our brain is always trying to conserve energy. It wants to do the least amount possible. So what's so important in habit formation is that whatever new routine, whatever new habit we're trying to create, we have to make it so easy that our brain doesn't fight against it. So what I love to say when I'm teaching about how to start a mindfulness practice is, if your brain says that sitting down and listening to a guided mindfulness practice for 5 minutes is too much and it feels like a hurdle in any way, ask yourself, is 2 minutes easy? And if you feel like 2 minutes is too much, go back to 1 breath. Make it so easy that your brain can't fight against you. Now, once that has become a habit and you're doing 1 breath every day.
What's 2? What's 3 breaths?
Exactly. You can work your way up. But when we start by, okay, I'm going to go to the gym every day of the week, and it's too big, then we just give up.
Yeah.
So start super small and build your way up. So if you want to start running, just put on your shoes for the first week. Like, don't even go outside, don't even run, just put on your shoes, and you'll start getting into the habit of putting on your shoes when you get home from work. Now, the 4th step and the 4th law is the reward. So we have to make this new habit satisfying. It has to be something that shows our brain that this is a good option for us. That when we're feeling stressed, this action that we take is the best possible choice. So if you are going for a run, like, how can you make it more satisfying? How can you feel so good? And different people are motivated by different things, like maybe keeping track of your time and trying to beat your time every time is going to be enough motivation for you because you're really competitive.
Or like for me, I'm not a competitive person, and just the feeling itself that I get from running that I don't get from anything else I do.
Yeah.
That feeling is the reward.
Exactly. Which is why I would recommend, when you're choosing what habit you want to create for you to always be able to go back to throughout the entire school year to avoid burnout, choose something that you like doing. Like, go through your repertoire of activities that you already enjoy doing and start there. Make that your habit that you're always going back to, because just if it's satisfying enough for you to do it every day and that's enough motivation, well, that's a really great choice for self-care, right? This isn't something that you want to beat yourself up about. It's something that you
don't
use.
Want it to make you feel worse.
Exactly. Yeah. So choosing something that you enjoy. So that's meditation has been that way for me. And I started very small when I first started. Like, I did the 1 breath thing and worked my way up and worked my way up and worked my way up over time. But I feel really good after I've meditated, done my mindfulness practice in the morning, that it's worth it for me without having any sort of other reward. Just the action of doing it itself is the reward, which is perfect. So we invite you now to sit down and write it out or think it out or talk it out. What is one activity that you love to do that helps you to feel like your best self? Something that you can make into a habit that is going to be your foundation for self-care throughout the school year to help you to avoid teacher burnout. So remember, how will you make it obvious? How will you make it attractive? How will you make it easy? And how will you make it satisfying?
I love it.
Now that you understand how habits are created, this is definitely going to be helpful for you in the classroom when you're trying to create good, positive habits with your students. So you guys know us. We love the habit of a mindfulness practice in the classroom with our students. And that's why we've created a full mindfulness program where you have an audio to listen to every single day with your students, and it just becomes a positive part of the day. So if you'd like to try out Educom Classroom for free, get our free trial by going to podcast.educalm.com and clicking on episode 74. We will have the links there for you.
Stay tuned for next week as we continue this 5-part series on avoiding teacher burnout. And next week, we will be talking about how being mindful of your thoughts can change your experience in the classroom.
Thanks so much for being here with us this week. Have an awesome week.
Bye.
Worry, stress, and anxiety are a reality in today's schools. When students are distracted, their brains aren't ready for learning. Getting them to calm down and focus can feel impossible. Don't feel helpless, frustrated, or overwhelmed any longer. Get Educom Classroom, our online mindfulness program that's transforming classrooms and improving student wellness and learning. With Educom Classroom, students and teachers learn concrete strategies and common vocabulary to manage emotions and behaviors. They both leave the classroom better equipped to overcome life's challenges. In your Educom Classroom membership, you'll get a full year of ready-to-use audio, video, and printable mindfulness lessons for the classroom, plus access to a caring and supportive community of like-minded teachers. Try Educom Classroom for free by going to www.educalm.com. Educalm is spelled EDUCALME. Thrive in a calm learning atmosphere.